Tav X Hebrews, purity and becoming one. How do we become pure? We got to turn to the Most High God, Yahweh, and Him alone. Some people call Him Yahuwah. Some people call Him Yah. Some people call Him the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of Daniel, the God of Moses, the God of the Israelites, ancient and modern. And just like in the ancient days, the majority of Israelites, they don't want to serve their God. They want to serve everybody else's God, the nation's gods, the idols, who are real spirits, by the way. Hit the like button on your way in the door, family. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome to you. I am your brother, Mr. Real Talk, and this is your go-to YouTube channel for brotherhood, sisterhood, and an attempt at righteousness. That's all we can do over here. We giving it our best shot. That's what it's all about, y'all. Turn to the Most High God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Give it all you got. Hit the like button on your way in the door so that other brothers and sisters will see this as well. Y'all know the routine. We always gotta wait a couple of minutes because YouTube doesn't like to send out notifications. So we gotta wait a few minutes to see if any brews gonna show up in here. So as you come through the door, hit the like button. Y'all know what's happening. We're gonna give it a few minutes, fam. Tav X Hebrews. Hit that like button, Hebrew, as you come through the Dizzo, your Nizzo. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, Hebrew. Hit that like button. We got J.R. Meadows in the building. J.R. Meadows, and he goes, "Let's go, my Hebrew family, worldwide." What's going on, Brother J.R.? Brother J.R. in his house. Always good to see you, broski. Again, Brother J.R. says, "Let's go, my Hebrew family, worldwide." because we scattered into all nations. We global with this thing, y'all. We ain't just in one place, we everywhere. Wherever you at, we right there. Yeah. Talking about them brews, y'all. IVI says Shalom, Mr. Real Talk, and Miss Paka. Barakas to everyone. And Tarvex. Shalom to you, Avi. And Barakas to you and everyone. Earth Healing Angel says Shalom and welcome, brother, at Mr. Real Talk, at J.R. Meadows, and all the family coming in. That's right. Shalom and welcome to you, Earth Healing Angel. Always good to see you in the building. Hope all is well with your fam. J.R. Meadows says, my pace is better than OKC. That's the way it's appearing right now. But look, I fell asleep last night, so I didn't get to see the game. But I heard the game was won on a last second shot, though, J.R. Meadows. That's what I heard. I haven't seen the highlights yet, but I am going to watch those highlights when I get off of here, off of this live. Indeed, I am. It's a bunch of young guns out there in the NBA Finals now. The Pacers and OKC got young guns. It should be interesting. Especially if you like to play sports or like to watch sports. I know J.R. Meadows, you got a background with both. Playing sports and watching sports. Me, I like to watch sports. I played sports, but I never played like organized sports. All my sports was street balling. But I must admit, I have taken plenty of brothers to school on that b-ball court. Okay? I must admit. And I still got something left in the tank. I'm just saying, family. I'm just saying, I still can shoot a little bit. My jumper is still a little wet. Baby Niagara Falls, maybe. We got Abiyah in the building again. Abiyah said Shalom at J.R. Meadows. Said at Earth Healing Angel. Barakas to you both. Tavex. That's right. Earth Healing Angel says, family, thank you. Earth Healing Angel says, family, thank you, your attendance. Thank you for your attendance. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Please do everything that Earth Healing Angel asked y'all to do because it will help other brothers and sisters have a chance to see this video, you know? And we definitely want to get the word out because if we want things to change, first we got to change. See, that's the key right there. If we want things to change, we got to change. Because Yahweh don't change, but men and women do. We got to change. Just like we changed into the bad way, now we got to rechange. Just like we've had to do so many times throughout our family history, now we got to change again and go back to the old ways, the old paths. Turn to the Most High God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and quit being a vampire and a cannibal. Because that's what you are. Every time you go to church and you do communion, even when you have a soft spot in your heart for the so-called death and sacrifice of Christ, having a soft spot in your heart, getting all warm and fuzzy inside, and saying stuff like this, saying stupid stuff like this. It's because of my sins. It's my sins that killed him. I killed him. It's me. I'm guilty. I have the blood of Christ on my hands. He died for me. You start acting like that, feeling like that, and little do you know, your whole life you've been acting like that and feeling like that. That's witchcraft, huh? Sorcery art, how could you not be grateful? The precious blood of Christ, the human sacrifice, who demands that you break God's laws. The one who the world calls God, he has a name, you know, and it ain't JC. It ain't Bahashem Yahweh or none of that foolishness. That's all foolery, foolishness, nonsense, and madness, insanity at a very high satanic, demonic level. You are not, I don't know what it's going to take. You know what? I'm lying. I take that back. It's going to take many of us getting put to death before we understand that it's evil to drink blood, of any kind. Ain't no such thing as a righteous blood drink. Do you know how stupid you sound? Making it any kind of way you trying to flip this to make drinking blood somehow that's holy and righteous. Being a vampire. Just take a second and think about that. How evil that is. Hit the like button, family. If you haven't hit the like button already, hit that like button right now, y'all. If you have not hit the like button, family, I want you to hit that like button right now. If you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Only the Most High God knows how much longer he's going to allow this society to keep on operating the way that it's been going. I'm sick of it. I'm sure that many of you are sick of it. How much longer do you think we got? If I'm not mistaken, I heard somebody say that this month was Pride Month, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Sodom and Gomorrah Pride Month. That's what I heard anyway. I heard it's this month. You guys do know that every time a society full-fledged adopts Sodom and Gomorrah lifestyle and wear it on their sleeve, every time they do that, shortly thereafter, that society crumbles. That's what happened to a lot of those so-called ancient superpowers. A lot of those ancient kingdoms were ruling and stuff. As soon as everybody got on that low vibrational frequency and everybody wanted to openly and willingly adopt the Sodom and Gomorrah lifestyle, that society soon fell. The markers are all around us. They're calling evil good and good evil. Everywhere you look. They're calling drinking blood. Just think about that for a second. Get out of your emotions. This is not a channel for people who can't see past their emotions. This is a channel for people who want to deal with reality. We deal with the hardcore facts, the hardcore truth that people want to run away from. Brother J.R. Meadow says, biblical facts unfolding, they going against each other, and all they have to do is give us our just due. That's right. And they are going to give us our just due. J.R. Meadow says, Trump definitely on Epstein Island list, I'm sure. Hey, that's crazy, bro. It's diabolically wicked out here, y'all. Earthfield and Angel says, Pride Month. Batty Boys. Definitely Earthfield and Angel. Batty Boys. Hey, that was crazy. I remember being a young whippersnapper, a young nigga, okay? Being in the Christian church. Of course, it was black. It wasn't no white people there. So-called white people didn't want to come to church. We went to church in Washington, D.C. in one of the most notorious open air drug markets in the history of Washington, D.C. Our church was right there in the middle of what you would call the trap. That's what the young niggas refer to it today, the trap house. Back when I was a young nigga, they didn't call it the trap house. They called it the spot, the strip, the rip. Anybody from those times and eras, you know what I'm talking about. The strip, the rip, the open air drug market where anything goes. I grew up in that time era, right? At this time, the church I'm going to as a young blackarooski, a young niggerooski. Washington, D.C., like I said, was a mess, awash with crack cocaine, guns everywhere, enough killing to make an action-packed movie every day. Going to church early in the morning because we had to go to what you would call Sabbath school. At one point in time, most black people in America, not all of us, but most of us, probably started off as a Baptist or something like that, or maybe a Methodist Baptist, but most black Americans, not all, but a whole lot of us, known to be Baptists, all right? Even if you never stepped foot in the church, nigga, you was Baptist, all right? The one time a year you did go to church, if you did, you was a Baptist, nigga. But as we progressed, my people in their mind, their heart, they wanted to do what was right. So at some point, I'm still a young niggerooski at this point. We morph over and become Seventh-day Adventists. Yeah. So we had to go to Sabbath school. So imagine early in the morning, on Saturday morning, going to Sabbath school, walking through the rip or the strip, what they call today the trap. It was called the strip when I was a young nigga. The strip, the rip. Okay? Now imagine getting out of the car, walking to Sabbath school, walking through the killers, mass murderers, crack distributors, while they're out here knee-deep in drug sales, knee-deep in weaponry. At any minute, a drive-by could take place. And you walking through this every Sabbath to go to Sabbath school. To come up there in all of the churches, I don't care if it's Seventh-day Adventist, Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, Episcopalian. You know one thing that they all got in common? They teach you that breaking God's laws makes you holy. And breaking God's laws is somehow going to give you eternal life by being a vampire and a cannibal. Because you know what every single church was teaching? I don't care if it's the black church, white church, Spanish church, African church, call it any kind of church. You know what every single church out there is teaching you? To be a spiritual cannibal, a spiritual vampire. And some way, somehow, by being an abomination, you somehow inherit eternal life. Now the question is, where do people get that train of thought from? Why do you think you need to do something that's satanic and demonic as drinking blood and eating a body? Is there anybody out there who just take a second just to think about how evil and wicked that is? Never mind what the Most High God said. His only begotten son told me the only way I can get salvation, I gotta drink this 40 ounce of blood. And it's not even cold. He expects you to drink 40 ounces of warm spiritual blood. Spiritual, brother. Brother, I would never drink physical blood. And that's not necessarily true. There are people out there who drink physical blood. It's all the same. In fact, I'm almost convinced that drinking spiritual blood might even be worse. Because now you're really trying to be slick. You know drinking physical blood is evil. And there's people that do that. I saw two Christian pastors about a year ago. I posted a clip of it on here, drinking physical blood. They did it on stage. Maybe we'll show that clip again sometime this weekend. I think it was Kenneth Copeland, if I'm not mistaken. Him and some other demonic Christian pastor. Both went up there, cut themselves, pricked themselves, and bled in a cup or bled in a cup of water. And then went on some ramble riot about how the blood of Christ, brother, is so precious. It's all about blood. And you see the blood covenant, it's all about blood. Kenneth Copeland and some other wicked nigga went up there. Both cut themselves, bled into a cup, and then they both drunk out the cup. Proving what I'm saying. If you drink spiritual blood, trust me. The only thing that has to happen for you to drink physical blood, the setting just has to be right and perfect. And I'm telling you, whoever you are, you might not think that you will, but if you have no problem drinking spiritual blood, trust me, there is a perfect situation out there that if you found yourself in, you would drink physical blood. That's the whole, it all starts spiritually, mentally. Get you to accept it in your heart and your spirit first, and you will drink. Just like I showed that video of them pastors. Drinking literal blood, y'all. Disgusting, man. Earth Feeling Angel says, my mom's side Baptist, father's side Catholic, Anglican. We converted to 7 Days Adventist as well. Y'all see this? Then back to Baptist. Baptist folks like to fight worldwide. They always ready to throw hands. Hey, Earth Healing Angel, you ain't lying. You are not lying. And by the way, I've seen rumbles in church before. I don't know about y'all. I've seen literal hands, scraps, vicious. Told you I went to church in D.C. Not the Washington, D.C. that everybody thinks, you know, the monument, the Capitol. It's a whole nother Washington, D.C. out there that some people just don't know exists. They think it's all monument, White House, Abraham Lincoln statue. I'm telling you. Even with all the gentrification, Washington, D.C. has been heavily infiltrated and gentrified. But even so, there's parts of Washington, D.C. still to this day only a food. I mean, if you're not from around there, you just shouldn't be around there. And if you do go around there, your life is in grave danger. Just because you showed up on that block, your life is in grave danger. Niggas gonna look at you. They be like, hey, who is that? Soon as niggas be like, man, I don't know them. Off the break, you're in danger. You're in danger. Earth Healing Angel says you can see Satan in Kenneth Copeland's eyes. He got them snake eyes. Yes, he does. He looks like a devil. And indeed he is. They was drinking blood. Earth Healing Angel says, laugh out loud. Roughneck churches. I'm telling you, I don't know if you ever seen a brawl in church. And look, there's one brawl that comes to my mind. I'm going to tell y'all this. We're going to get into this scripture, right? I'll never forget this. And yeah, my family was involved. Look, one day, we was in church. I want to say, you know what? I can't remember if this was the morning service or the service right after in the afternoon. I can't remember. It was a nice amount of people at the church, put it that way. I think it might have been one of those days where we might have just probably was going to be at church for the day. Had the regular service, probably was eating, and then after another service, into probably something like that. But it was a very nice amount of people at church. I remember the service, but it was still early in the day. I remember the service was getting ready to close out. I kid you not. As they are praying, I kid you not, as they are praying, you know, ending the service, the benediction or whatever, praying, right? But we ain't get ready to leave the church, probably get ready to go eat or something like that. As they are praying. Anybody you ever been around a brawl or when people really getting it in, you know sometimes you hear like a roar, like a crowd surge, like like you can hear the mayhem, right? So as they are praying, all of a sudden, in the back, out in the lobby, right? We in the main sanctuary, and in the lobby, you got to come through the glass doors. So when the glass doors are shut, it hides a lot of the noise. But I started to hear a roar, even with the glass doors, right? I'm like, yo, what in the world is this roar? And the roar got louder, right? It got so loud till people had to stop praying. Like, yo, what's that? Looked up, look out back. You hear this roar, and you can see it is mayhem. It's a brawl. You can tell it's a brawl going on. You hearing a roar, and you're hearing boom, 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 like thumping and stuff, right? I'm like, yo, what in the world is going on? I hear people yelling, screaming. I hear somebody saying, I can't remember if they were saying, get off of her. Even somebody was saying, get off of her, or get off my cousin. Something to that effect. They might have just said, get off of her. So when I hear that, right, everybody running out there, it's a mob of people out here. You can see somebody's in here getting busy. And then you can tell like it was people trying to pull off. You don't know if people trying to pull it off. They trying to add in. It's a roar. And I hear females, bro. I hear, get off of her. I'm like, I start looking for my folks, my sister, my mother, my cousin, right? I'm like, yo, who the hell is that up in there? What's going on? Somebody is getting look, it's some furniture being moved up in here in this outer lobby of the church, right? Get off of her. I'm like, yo, and I can hear voices, right? It's such a mob of people trying to weed through all the mayhem. I hear voices that I know. I can't see nobody, right? Family, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Look, there might be somebody in here right now. If somebody's in here right now who was at that church that day when this rumble kicked off, you know what I'm talking about. Say something in the comment section if you hear. It's only one person or two at most that I think could be here. If you in here right now, say something to let everybody know I'm not making this up. We hear this roar. Get off of her. Even they said, get off of her or get off my cousin. Either way, it's women, right? And I'm hearing all kind of voices. And I'm hearing all this kind of commotion and hearing thumping and stuff, right? But I can't see none of these women because the voices that I'm hearing are on the front line in the mix, surrounded by everybody else. I'm trying to force my way up in there. I'm like, yo, who's up in here? What's going on up in here? This better not be my mother or my sister or my cousin. Get up in there, Joe. Family, it's a straight rumble. And y'all, they was throwing down in here. I'm telling you, Hollywood ain't have nothing on this. They was throwing down. It was my cousin and this other girl, and it was brutal. A few people tried to grab, a few people tried like it was brutal. It was brutal. And for a brief second, because it turned into a little of multiple people rumbling, right? They broke it up for a second and still trying to break up the main rumble that was going on. And then they thought they pulled away the side person. Next thing you know, you looked up, girl from the side and got loose somehow. And I'm telling you, when I say, hey, y'all, this thing was brutal. When it finally subsided, and yo, I felt like we've been at Madison Square Garden or something. It was crazy. I cannot make this up. But you know what? Now look, I'm just willing to bet. That kind of activity only happens when you're drinking spiritual blood. I've never heard of an Old Testament only gathering where people get to doing that. I mean, maybe it has. Look, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I've never heard of it happening. It was crazy. Let me read these comments and then I'm going to read these scriptures, y'all. But blood drink, why am I telling y'all all of this? Because that happened at a blood drinking establishment. Y'all, it's been a trick this whole time to get us to become enemies of Yahweh by engaging in high-level satanic, demonic ceremonies like drinking blood. Earth Healing Angel says laughing emoji. Earth Healing Angel says WWE. Hey, Earth Healing Angel, it was definitely WWE that day. Aviar said Church Royal Rumble. Hey, Aviar, I ain't gonna never forget that day, yo. I was just like, yo, I'm hearing these voices that I know. I'm like, yo, this better not be my mother. This better not be my sister. And psh, they were, when I say they was getting it in, hey, y'all, they would put it this way. They were swinging for the fences. Did you hear me? Swinging for the fences. And I was like, yo, this is crazy because, you know, obviously my cousin is involved. And then there was other people involved. So, of course, look, I'm not fighting nobody in church. I'm not trying. I don't want to engage in violence if I don't have to, period. Let alone in so-called church, right? But when these girls up in here scrapping and stuff like this, it doesn't matter what I want to do. The family's involved. So if my cousin is involved, guess what? All the tension that was going on up in there, and it was women on both sides trying to break this thing up, and people was adding things in. So, I mean, y'all, I ain't never seen, I've heard of stuff like that, but that's the first time that I ever seen anything like that. When I say it was going down, it was like WWE in that joint. And I was like, yo, nobody better not hit my mother, yo. I kid you not. Nobody better not hit my mother. Nobody better not hit my sister. Now, I'm going to go say, if I was out there, that fight wouldn't have happened to begin with my cousin and that other girl who shall remain nameless. That fight would have never happened if I would have been out there, because I wouldn't have let it happen, right? But things just popped off out there. And when it popped off, it went all the way left. And I was like, yo, imagine being in the church rumble and you hearing all these voices of all these women that I know, but I can't see them because that's how gully and grimy is getting. It's a mob out there. I'm at the back of the mob. I'm trying to force my way to the front because I'm hearing people that I know. I'm like, yo, nobody better not be in here fighting my mother or my sister. And I'm like, I don't know who this is, but I can just feel this person is connected to me. And sure enough, it was my cousin out there. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And yeah, my cousin is from the South Side. Okay, shout out to the South Side. But I will say this, and I'm not just saying it because she's my cousin, right? She didn't start that fight. Everybody, it was plenty of witnesses out there. This one particular young lady at our church, she was dedicated to being a gangster. And she wanted everybody to know she was a straight gangster. She wanted it to be known. And she really did not like my cousin. I mean, they cool now today, but in these times, she couldn't stand my cousin. And so, you know, it popped off. She swung on my cousin in church. That's how gangster. Crazy. And she was dedicated. She was dedicated to wanting to be a gangster, and she ended up being a gangster. Ended up going down for let's just say she was involved in an unaliving sometime after that. She was, like I said, even though we was growing up in the church, so-called Christians, this girl who I was fighting with my cousin, she was dedicated. She wanted to be a gangster no matter what, and she was determined to be a gangster. So much that she ended up going to prison for being involved in an unaliving. All right, that was church WWE. That was crazy. I was like, yo, I cannot believe this is going on. And of course, after it was over, like everybody standing around, hey, yo, wildest day in church history that day. Now let me read these comments. Earthy and the Angel says, Aviar laughing emoji. Earthy and the Angel says, those Baptist church sisters are famous for stealing sisters' men. Oh, I've heard. Yes. Shaking my head. That's probably what that rumble was about. That's crazy, Earthy and the Angel. I'm telling y'all, I just did not expect to see that. Because I'm sitting there, I'm in the back of the church, they're praying. And as we're praying, we hear this, whoo. Y'all know how it is when a rumble is going on, that roar that you hear. And when they open up the door, like, oh my gosh, they out there rumbling. Everybody just ran out. Hey, y'all, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look, and back then, it wasn't no social media, wasn't none of that crap. Because you know what? I know them Negroes. Somebody would have broke out a phone. I know Negroes. It wasn't no social media, none of that. But it was a Royal Rumble. Melissa Israel says, the pastor's wife at my Methodist church stole my sister's husband. Ouch. 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 I'm going to read that one again. Melissa Israel said, the pastor's wife at my Methodist church stole my sister's husband. Yo, now if that ain't shiesty, wow. Earthfield Angel says, laughing emoji. Avion says, oh my gosh. Yeah, oh my gosh is right. They was in there thumping, y'all. Melissa Israel says, got pregnant to my ex-brother-in-law, lied that the baby was the preacher's baby. Wow. Wow. Grimy. Earthfield Angel says, that's messy and sad. That's an understatement. King David in his house. King David says, Booty Bandit JC invited you to dinner, get you drunk off their blood, and had their spiritual ditty, Christian oil ready to rub you down. Same oil Christian and black Christian use when cornered. Woo! Hey, King David, you just slam dunked it right there, brother. You are not lying. What's good with you, King David? Time back to you, brother. Good to see you, man. Avia says, wow, that is messy. Earthfield Angel says, at Mr. Real Talk, that is sad for your cousin. She was gangster for real. Yes. Yes, she was. Shout out to the South Side. Because you know what? I think that girl, like I said, I think they cool now, right? Because we're older now, they squashed the beef or whatever, right? But back then, that girl who swung on my cousin, she was dedicated. Like, I mean, even though we was at church, she was only concerned with being a thug, being a gangster. And she let it be known, look, nigga, I'm a gangster. I'm a straight up thug. And she lived the life to prove it. Like, she wasn't playing. She wasn't just acting out. This girl was a real gangster, even back then. And I guess because my cousin, like, my girl cousin, obviously, right? I wouldn't call her a gangster. She wasn't a gangster. But I guess the other girl, maybe she thought my cousin was afraid of her because my cousin wasn't like, yeah, I'm a gangster, I'm a gangster. But my cousin is, she ain't to be played with. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't out trying to act all tough. Look, we at church, okay? It's not the place for that. Actually, there is no place for that, but you know what I mean. My cousin wasn't trying to be no thug and no gangster. So I guess the girl maybe thought my cousin was afraid of her. And you know, I'm like, this thing could have spilled all the way over and got ugly because that girl, she had family members in there. She had cousins in there, a mother. I had cousins in there, a mother, a sister. And my cousin and my sister, like my sister not just gonna stand there. And I didn't even know. My sister was up in there. She wasn't having to knock nobody out, but she was one of the women in there, like trying to break this thing up along with other women. But at any second, any one of them could have just reached out and said, you know what? Screw trying to break this up. I'm just gonna clock you. Because it was that kind of atmosphere. And all I'm saying is, yo, I just want this thing to stop. I'm trying to bring this thing to an end. But see, when you drink blood, even spiritually, it puts a certain kind of spirit on you. Earthfield Angel says, at King David, not the Diddy oil. Laughing emoji. Yes, the Diddy oil. King David says, laughing emoji. Earthfield Angel says, soap opera at that Methodist church. Facts. Melissa Israel says, that woman is a witch for real. King David says, church house period is the most wild and freaks. Facts. At the barbershop, lady was like she was on Christian dating dudes, sending nudes and etc, but act all holy. Do y'all see this? Y'all, the church is no place for somebody who wants to get close to God. Because the church is not about God. The church is about Christ and being a good little vampire. Earthy and the Angel says, at Mr. Real Talk, did your cousin turn her life around and free from incarceration? Oh, nah. Look, Earthy and the Angel. The girl who my cousin was fighting, that's the girl who got incarceration. That's the girl who wanted to be a straight thug and a gangster and just in these streets. It was the girl who swung on my cousin. And I guess she thought that my cousin was afraid of her. But my cousin wasn't afraid of her. And they was in there thumping. But that girl, she ended up going to prison because of her thug life, right? She was tied up and involved in a... Because she made it known that's what she was about, being a straight gangster. But now, in these days, as I sit here talking to you now, she's no longer a thug. She's no longer a gangster. It appears as if that sister has learned her lesson. And like I said, her and my cousin is cool now. But the girl who went to prison for killing, that's the one who wanted to be a straight thug. That's the one who started the fight with my cousin. And she swung on my cousin. Yeah. But you know what? She didn't know. Even though my cousin didn't want to be a thug, didn't want to be a gangster, but she was. She wasn't a thug, but she tough as nails. My cousin, she was tough. But she wasn't out here acting tough. You know what I mean? So maybe I think that other girl, because she was on the front lines, front line thugging, I guess she thought my cousin was scared. But she found out that day my cousin was not afraid at all. It was crazy. And it was also a high tension situation for me, because at any moment when all this brawl is going on, that brawl, it went on for a minute too. It wasn't just like 2 or 3 minutes. This brawl went on because they was thumping and they wanted to thump, like couldn't pull them apart. And the more I could tell, people couldn't pull them apart. They were getting frustrated that they couldn't get them to stop fighting. And I was like, yo, at any minute, it's just going to be an all-out brawl. And every single woman in here is going to be fighting. And I'm like, no. I saw it coming. That thing was that close, literally, to every single woman in there. Whether you wanted to or not, you was going to be forced to pick a side. I kid you not. I could see it. As it was going on, that fight was so intense. They was fighting each other like, nigga, I got you now. They both, when I say they was thumping, they was thumping. Knockout blows were being delivered. And they could not pry them sisters apart. And, the men, we were trying to break it up, but we can't get as necessarily as physical with a woman as the woman can. These women were in here, and you could tell the tension. All the women on both sides were getting angrier and angrier. I was like, yo, at any given second, and they all over each other, bumping into each other, falling into each other, all over the floor. This thing was a brawl. I was like, at any given second, every woman in here is going to be clutching. And then it's going to be up to the men in here. Hey, y'all, I cannot make this up, y'all. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And then the scandals that go on in church. The scandals? Oh, my gosh. Earthly and the Angel says, oh, my apologies. I got the story mixed up. Thank you for clarity. No problem, Earthly and the Angel. But you know what? That young lady, now, the one who went to prison, she didn't change her whole format. She still, of course, in her heart, she always gonna be a gangster. She always gonna be a thug. But she ain't out here thugging in these streets no more. She's still about being a hustler though, but now she's all about legal hustling. She rides all around, all over America, hustling. Legal stuff though. I gotta give it to her. I gotta give it to her. She changed her life. I'm happy for her doing that too. I believe now her and my cousin can be around each other and it won't be no smoke. King David says, y'all hate idols so much, he'd rather take a sister who be selling her body, did adult films and etc., and did a 180 and serve him only and keep his laws than a good girl who served JC. Let that sink in, folks. Yeah, let that sink in. That's heavy right there. King David says, So people need to really stop with that JC sound confirmation, my God, and rock BS and throwing y'all in the back. Oh yeah, praise y'all too. He gonna hit them with that. Oh yeah, you going to spiritual prison. Keep playing. It's crazy. The Most High God is an afterthought in all these churches. Earth Young Angel says, I'm happy to hear. I'm happy for her making the change. Oh yeah, me too. Me too. That sister was definitely, she was off the hook. She was dedicated though. She always was dedicated. I'm a thug and I'm gonna be a gangster. I don't care what nobody say. She was determined. Drinking spiritual blood. Now, family, we're gonna prove this, right? I'm not gonna keep y'all too long this evening, but what I am gonna do, I'm gonna prove to you beyond the shadow of a doubt that JC is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You know why? JC or Christ or Yeshua, by Hashem Yahushua, he invited you to dinner, didn't he? I can't remember where it's at, y'all. If one of y'all can find it for me, please post it in the live chat. The scripture where Christ says, behold, I stand and I knock. I can't remember where that's at. But he says, behold, I stand and I knock. Christ is claiming to knock. He's knocking, all right. You know why he's knocking? He's knocking at the door of your heart, knocking at the door of your soul to see if you're going to let him come in so that he can make dinner for you. But the one thing that he forgot to tell you with this elaborate dinner invite, the wedding of Christ or the feast of Christ, the marriage supper, all kind of names for this foolishness. The one thing Christ forgot to tell you, the main course. Look, whenever you're going out to eat with somebody, whenever you're going to sit down to a meal with somebody, and look, especially sitting down to a meal with Christ, the only begotten Son of God, by Hashem Yahushua, of course we want to know, hey, what's for dinner? What's for dinner, only begotten Son of God? You never thought that he was going to tell you, hey, I want you to eat me for dinner. What? What did you just say, Ak? Hey, Ak, hey, beloved, behold, I stand and I knock at the door. I want to take you out to eat, Ak. What's for dinner? Ak, you believe in me, right? You believe that the Father sent me, right, Ak? Sure I do. All right. I want you to eat me for dinner. I want you to just think about that for a second. How evil and satanic that is. And how the so-called only begotten Son of God, not only does he command you to break God's laws by eating his body and drinking his blood, which is a sin, he's threatening you with this. Now, here's the problem I gotta say. If this guy, if he's the only begotten Son of God, which he's not, because it ain't no such thing as the only begotten Son of God. And if he's also God in the flesh, which he's not, because ain't no such thing as God in the flesh giving up his life, shedding his blood so that you can die and drink his blood spiritually. None of that crap exists. It's all lies to turn you into a sinner, a committer of iniquity. All the other nations have been doing blood sacrifices, drinking spiritual blood and drinking physical blood. And if you will drink spiritual blood, like I said, if the situation is right, you'll drink physical blood too. You might not realize you will, but you will. And now I'm going to show to you in the Bible. See, this is why we don't believe everything that's in the Bible, because we know it's been tampered with from front to back. They've added stuff in and taken stuff out. Like what I'm getting ready to read to you right now. I'm going to read to you where many of you guys, Lord and Savior, outright told you to break the commandments. And some way, somehow, he's convinced everybody on planet Earth that breaking the commandments is the key to eternal life. It's not even subtle. It's outright in your face. Slam dunk. Brother Gabam Yah says, Shalom, Israel. Shalom to you, Brother Gabam Yah, warrior of Ephraim. Good to see you, fam. We got Joshua the Levite in his house. Joshua Levi says, at Mr. Real Talk, Shalom and chat. Shalom to you, brother. Good to see you as always. As always, brother. Hope all is well with you, Joshua the Levite. Hope all is well with you, Brother Gabam Yah. We got Abiyah. Abiyah shooting from the hip. And she says, Revelation 3:20, King James Version. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. Thank you for that, Abiyah. Now, family, when this so-called Christ is saying this, many of our people, you don't realize when you're reading this, you don't realize this is a demon. You think that this is God in the flesh. You think that this is the only begotten Son of God. Many of you out there think that this is the Holy One of Israel. And he says, I stand and I knock at the door of your heart, brother. And if any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and him with me. Now here's what I gotta ask anybody out there who's buying that. I'm not buying that. Here's what I gotta ask anybody who's buying that. Show me in the Old Testament where somebody named Christ or Yeshua or Yahweh or anybody. Show me where the Most High told us to let another spirit or another entity come into our hearts and in our souls. Show me the book, chapter, and verse where the Most High said, hey, y'all, prepare your soul, prepare your spirit. I'm going to send my only begotten son, and he's going to show up one day knocking. And when he does, let him into your soul and your spirit. The Most High ain't never said nothing like that. This is a new spirit, a new God. And this guy, yeah, he's knocking at your door, seeing if you want to go out to a blood dinner, to drink his blood and to eat his body. That's why he's knocking at your door, to see if you down for that. I'm not down for that. Neither was King David. The Most High God ain't down with that. But let me show you where your beloved Lord and Savior threatens you and tell you better drink his blood. I'm going to read it to you. Abiyah says, Shalom and Gabam and Yah, warrior of Ephraim, and Joshua the Levite, welcome and barakas. Joshua the Levite says, at Gabam and Yah, warrior of Ephraim, Shalom, king. At Earth and the Angel says, at Mr. Real Talk, I got some hot grits brewing for C if he's bad enough to knock on my door. Hey, that's right, Earth and the Angel. Get him and don't let him get away. We ain't letting no other spirit knock at the door of our heart so we can come in there and tell us to break God's laws and drink his blood and eat his body. No thanks. No thanks. See, he's knocking though. He's trying to see if you're home, if you'll let him in. The Most High never told us to prepare our hearts or spirits to let any other thing in. This is a demon, y'all. Earth and the Angel says, at Melissa Israel, at Gabam and Yah, at Joshua the Levite, Shalom and welcome. Joshua the Levite says, at Abiyah, Shalom, sister. We'll do a video on sin, iniquity, and transgression sometime this week. Y'all willing. Okay, that's a good looking right there, broski. Hope all is well with you too, brother Joshua the Levite. Joshua the Levite says, at Earth and the Angel, Shalom, sister. Joshua the Levite says, at King David, Tavex. Joshua the Levite says, Jeremiah 7, verse 30 through 31. We're going to get there, brother. Earthfield and Angel says, at Joshua the Levite, yay. Looking forward to that. That's right. Aviar says, at Joshua the Levite, thank you so much, brother. I am looking forward to it. God's willing. That's right. Earthfield and Angel says, Jeremiah 7:31. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire. Y'all see? Which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. You see that? You're looking for that, Joshua the Levite, and thanks for posting, Earthfield and Angel. King David says, Tarvex and Joshua the Levite. Y'all be up there cooking. I felt that on the other video when the brother, a few videos, was like he getting sick and tired of this JC stuff holding us back, and they was doing it on purpose too. Yeah. This JC stuff is definitely holding us back, y'all. That is literally the biggest stumbling block in all of Israel, in the whole worldwide planet. Everybody believes in this guy, even though he blatantly tells you to break the Most High's laws. But enough of me saying it, we going to prove it. Earthfield and Angel says, Jeremiah 7:32. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. For they shall burn in Tophet till there be no place. That's the result of idolatry and blood sacrifice, human sacrifice. Earthfield and Angel, Jeremiah 7:30. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, saith Yahweh. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name to pollute it. Earthfield and Angel says, Brother Josh posted the scriptures. Thank you for those scriptures, Brother Joshua the Levite. And thank you, Earthfield and Angel, for putting them in the live. And now we're going to read. We're going to read where JC or Yeshua or Yahweh actually told you to break God's laws. Watch this. The book of John, chapter 6. The book of John, chapter 6, verse 53 through 56. The book of John, chapter 6, verse 53 through 56. And Christ said to them, I assure you, most solemnly, I tell you, you cannot have life in you unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, unless you appropriate his life and the saving merit of his blood. Verse 54. Oh my gosh. Y'all, tell me that this don't sound like a demonic seance. Listen to how sick this sounds. Verse 54. Tell me this don't sound like something out of a vampire movie, a vampire initiation. Listen to this. He who feeds on my flesh. Hey fam, if you can stomach this, listen to this vampire novel. He who feeds on my flesh. Now I'm going to ask you right now before I finish this verse, what kind of person feeds on flesh of any kind? I'm going to ask you that, and I want you to be honest, Hebrew. Be honest. Don't be a liar. What kind of person feeds on flesh? Be honest. He who feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood possesses now eternal life, and I will raise him up from the dead on the last day. Verse 55, for my flesh is true and genuine food, and my blood is true and genuine drink. I want to Earl. Verse 56, here it is again with this vampire lingo. He who feeds on my flesh. This is plain as hell, y'all. We reading out of the Amplified version today. Do you see how plain this? Look at this. Hey, hey, fam. Again, listen to this, y'all. Verse 56 is plain. Again, this is vampire lingo. Is there anybody out there who sees that this is vampire lingo? He who feeds on my flesh. And I gotta ask all the Christians, all the Messianics, GMS members, IUIC, all you Catholics, all you Christians, all you devout Christians, what kind of individual feeds on human flesh? Again, look at the verbiage. This sounds like a vampire initiation. This is a vampire initiation. He who feeds on my flesh. And you can just picture a cannibal gnawing down on human flesh like a wild pit bull. At least a pit bull don't know no better. A pit bull is a wild animal or a domestic animal. It's still an animal. You're supposed to be a civilized human being with the ability to think, but yet you embrace this. He who feeds on my flesh. I can't make this up, y'all. You're feeding on flesh. You're a day-walking vampire just like Blade. He who feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood dwells continually in me, and I in like manner dwell continually in him. You see that? So as long as you are feeding on his flesh and gulping down his blood like a 7-Eleven big gulp, he's going to continue to be inside of you, a demonic spirit of Christ. JC, Yeshua, Yahushua, Bahashim Yahushua, brother. I'm telling you, the first step to clearing this devil out your system, stop feeding on his flesh, y'all. You're a cannibal. You are Count Dracula 2.0. And you're thinking that it's going to get you into the kingdom because that's what this demonic New Testament told you. Yeah. Look at verse 53. We'll go back to verse 53. Verse 53 and verse 56 start off the same way. No, verse 54 and verse 56. Verse 54 says, he who feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood possesses right now eternal life, and I will raise him up from the dead. That sounds like a vampire promising all of his vampire followers to drink his blood, and through that demonic satanic magic ritual, he'll be raising you back to life. I've seen that in vampire movies, y'all. This is crazy that this is in the New Testament. It's a vampire ritual. That's what the New Testament is. Turning you into a vampire and a cannibal, making you abomination, making it so that the Most High God has to kill and destroy you. This is an elaborate trap and an elaborate scheme. Now look at this. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26, verse 26 through 28. Matthew chapter 26, verse 26 through 28. Now, as they were eating, JC, or Christ, took bread and praising God, gave thanks and asked him to bless it to their use. And when he had broken it, he gave it to the disciples and said, take it. This is my body. Here you go with this cannibal stuff again. He gave you the vampire side of the game, drinking blood. Now he want to put you onto the cannibal side of the game. And when he had broken it, he gave it to the disciples and said, take it. This is my body. Verse 27. And he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink it, all of you. Verse 28, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which ratifies the agreement, and is being poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. And that is a lie. You don't need blood to be forgiven of sins. All you got to do is turn to the Most High God with all your heart, mind, and soul. He's going to forgive you for his own name's sake. You don't need no blood. The Most High God told you, Jeremiah 7:22, he never commanded that blood sacrifice stuff. That's the blood God. And I know it's hard to see it, y'all. If you never heard of the blood God before, maybe we'll do another video on it. Anything that's telling you to kill innocent animals and that blood is going to somehow get you forgiven, that comes from the blood God. Here's a little hint at it right here, or a big hint at it. Look at this. Jeremiah 7:22. Sound confirmation. Jeremiah 7:22. For in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I did not speak to your fathers or command them concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. Do you see that? So what about all those scriptures in the Torah and in the Tanakh telling you to kill and murder innocent animals? And the scriptures that I just read right here where God says, I never commanded you when I brought you out of Egypt concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. It's a ton of other scriptures that backs that up. Proving that what? Just like we said over a year ago, half the Old Testament going left, half the Old Testament going right. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of brothers and sisters got angry and upset, caused a big stir on this channel over a year ago. And a lot of brothers and sisters have not really been endearing towards us ever since that day. Because most people can't see it. And even once they see it, it's too painful to admit it. Because once you admit that that's wrong, then what else is wrong? And people are not willing to go down that road. On this channel, we don't care where the truth leads to. We going there. As close as we can get to it, that's what we gonna do. And it's pretty deep. Pretty deep. Okay? And I'm gonna read these comments, y'all, after I get finished reading these scriptures. I just wanted you guys and gals to see Christ is all about getting you to feed on his blood, to feed on his body. And the Old Testament is a blood God in there warming you up, getting you ready to accept Christ, soften you up by killing animals first. That's how serial killers usually go too. They start off killing animals and then they work their way up to killing humans. It's true. And here's a hint at this again, that there is something off in the Old Testament. Jeremiah 7:22 again. And this caused quite a stir over a year ago. People got very angry, and I guess a lot of people are still angry about this. We did videos about this. Did one a couple of days ago about how there's no such thing as a good blood sacrifice. Jeremiah 7:22. For in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I did not speak to your fathers or command them concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. And if you want to say that that's a lie, and you want to say, no, he did. So if he did really speak to us about it, and this is in here, either way it's proven the Old Testament is going left and right. There's something that we don't understand. Many of us don't understand it because it's too scary. But we don't run from nothing over here. We see it. It's clearly going two ways. Then you're going to have to decide which way you're going to go. You're going to go with the God that wants you to slaughter innocent animals, the animals that he created now. We brought that out. It might have been last week we did that on the live, on a Saturday. It's still up. And then there's a gang of scriptures like we just read right here. There's a gang of scriptures that say, nope, you ain't sacrificing to me. I'm not accepting it. And I didn't command you to do it. So who is the God in the Old Testament that keeps telling you to kill all these animals? And when brothers and sisters even got to think about that for a second, they get angry at us. So something is off. And we know what it is. the Old Testament going left and right at the same time. You're going to have to use your mind to think and figure it out. Study, pray, fast. You're going to have to do it all. So we got now when JC commanded you to drink his blood and to eat his body. Now we're going to go read to you where the Most High says he ain't doing that. You're not to drink blood at all. At all. Watch this. I'm going to let y'all go soon. Watch this. Turn with me to Leviticus 17. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 10 through 12. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 10 through 12. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 10 through 12. Listen to this. I can drop the mic after this and I can step off. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 10 through 12. For real, all we need is verse 10. Listen to this. We're gonna still give you 10 through 12 though. But all we need is verse 10. I can drop the mic and step off after this. Listen to this. Any one of the house of Israel or of the strangers who dwell temporarily among them, who eats any kind of blood, against that person I will set my face, and I will cut him off from among his people, that he may not be included in the atonement made for them. Again, it says, any one of the house of Israel or of the strangers who dwell temporarily among them, who eats any kind of blood. Oh no, Ak. No, Ak. Any kind of blood. No, Ak. I would never drink physical blood, Ak. It's spiritual blood we drinking. Any one of the house of Israel or of the strangers who dwell temporarily among them, who eats any kind of blood. You know what any kind of blood means? Sound confirmation. Any kind of blood means just what it sounds like. Spiritual blood included. You can't say, well, brother, I know drinking blood physically, that's a sin, brother. But I'm going to drink this spiritually, brother. It's God's only son, for Pete's sake. His blood is purifying me. Any kind of blood. Leviticus 17 and 10 says, anybody drinking any kind of blood. Now, last I checked, spiritual blood was a kind of blood. Leviticus 17 said, if you drink any kind of blood, there is nowhere to run IUIC, GMS, all Christian churches, Catholic churches. What are you going to do with this? Any kind of blood, the jig is up. If you're drinking any kind of blood, you are the devil that the Bible speaks of. JC, Christ, Yeshua, he is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Here he is threatening you, telling you the only way you can have life in you is to drink my blood and eat my body. What did the Most High God say? Leviticus 17 and 10. Any one of the house of Israel or of the strangers who dwell temporarily among them, who eats any kind of blood, against that person I will set my face, and I will cut him off from among his people, that he may not be included in the atonement made for them. When the Most High talks about cutting people off, you know what that means? No more. Okay? That's what's going to happen to everybody out there if you want to drink any kind of blood, including spiritual. Wiggle out of that. Verse 11. For the life, the animal soul is in the blood, and I have given it for you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. Another add-on. The Most High ain't taking no blood, okay? Blood rituals are out, okay? But the pen of the scribes If you don't know, you'll find out. Subscribe to this channel, okay? We constantly going into things that most people don't want to go into because it's too scary and too uncomfortable. If you've never heard any talk like this before, you definitely should subscribe to the channel for more videos. We'll bring it out for you, okay? Verse 12, therefore I have said to the Israelites, no person among you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger who dwells temporarily among you eat blood. You're not to eat blood. You're not to drink blood. You're not to do blood sacrifices are out. And the only reason why we think that that's in, because the scriptures have been added to. But most Israelites are so afraid to admit that, so they just pretend like they don't see it. We don't do that over here. We deal with reality. If you won't deal with the truth that Most High is putting in your face, he's not going to give you more. I want more. I know most of you brothers and sisters out there want more. And as long as we stay hitched to Yahweh and him only, we're going to get just that. Even though people are scared and they want to hold us back, believe it or not, it ain't going to work. Okay? Now, and y'all saw that Leviticus 17:10 said any kind of blood. Any means any. It ain't no way around. Deuteronomy 12:23. And I'm gonna let y'all go, fam. Deuteronomy Deuteronomy 12:23 through 25. Deuteronomy 12:23 through 25. And it reads, only be sure that you do not eat the blood, for the blood is the life. And you may not eat the life with the flesh. Ain't it mighty funny how you may not eat the life with the flesh because it got blood, but Yeshua or JC is telling you to drink the blood and eat the flesh with the blood. He wants you to do it all. Everything that Yahweh said, no, don't do, JC saying, hey, do it all. You better do it all. It's the only way you can have life in you. JC ought to be ashamed of himself. Verse 24, you shall not eat it. You shall pour it out on the earth like water. That's what you got to tell them when they try to get you to take communion. You don't want that crap. You are damning yourself every time you take communion, fam. It's a ritual. It's a blood ritual. Satanic and demonic. 25. You shall not eat it, that all may go well with you and with your children after you, when you do what is right in the sight of Yahweh. You see that? Do you see that? Hey, y'all. Is there anybody out there who does not see the strict contrasting difference? The Most High God forbids drinking blood of any kind at all. And I don't even, if I have to explain to you that it's against God's laws to eat human bodies, you're way worse off than I thought. I should not have to explain to anybody out there that you're breaking God's laws if you eat another human being. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody on this live stream that doesn't understand eating a human being is a sin? That's a sin. You're an abomination. And you think that if you eat a human spiritually, I'm not going to physically grab a knife and a fork and chop him up and eat him, but in my heart and my soul, I'm eating him. You're just as guilty, and you're going to suffer the wrath of the Most High. Same thing with the blood. Well, brother, I'm not physically drinking it. It's spiritual. I know it's spiritual. Spiritually wicked. Dark wickedness rituals. Blood rituals. Dark rituals. Dark magic. Demonic divination is what you're doing, Christian. Messianic. IUIC member, GMS, Bahashem, Yahweh members. That's what you all are doing. You're devils, demons. And until you stop engaging in this high level witchcraft, demonic sorcery, drinking blood and eating bodies. I mean, I don't even have words for how evil that is. But that's what Christ demands of you. Let's get this again. Let's go back to John. I'm going to read it again. Look how he's threatening you. He's talking in a menacing tone and threatening you in John chapter 6, verse 53. Listen. John chapter 6, verse 53. Listen. Listen, y'all. John chapter 6, verse 53. Listen to how he threatens you. And JC said to them, I assure you, he's letting you know he ain't wondering, he's guessing. He's basically promising you. And JC said to them, I assure you, most solemnly, I tell you. This, he's letting you know he ain't playing, he's dead serious. You cannot have any life in you unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood. Unless you appropriate his life, which is his spirit, and saving merit of his blood. His blood ain't saving nobody. There is no such thing as blood saving anybody, animal or human. You see how demonic this is? He is threatening you. I solemnly tell you, assuredly I tell you, you can have no life in you at all, except you break God's laws by listening to me. That's the only way you can live. You see how evil that is? And Leviticus, what do Leviticus 17 and 10 say? You're going to have to make a decision. All you Bahashim Yahweh side guys out there, all of y'all got to make a decision. All you Catholics, all you Christians. Leviticus 17 and 10. Any one of the house of Israel or the strangers who dwell temporarily among them who eats any kind of blood, against that person I will set my face and I will cut him off from among his people, that he may not be included in the atonement made for them. That means you're not going to be forgiven. That means you're out of here. Okay? Now I want to ask you, who you going to believe? You going to believe the Son of Man, who told you to break God's laws? And he said that's the only way you can have life in you. You got to break God's laws. And God is my Father, so I'm telling you it's okay to break his laws. I don't care what he told you before. I'm here now, and I'm telling you the only way you can live, you got to chop my body up, eat it like a steak dinner, and drink my blood like some ghetto Kool-Aid. That's the only way you can live, nigga. You see how demonic your Lord and Savior is? Christ, JC, Yeshua. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. And you can follow him if you want. You can go out there and eat his body and drink his blood if you want. You are not going to be happy with the outcome. That I assure you. And let me read these comments, and I'm going to let y'all Bruce get on up out of here, fam. Earthfield and Angel posted John 6 and 53. Then JC said unto them, surely, verily I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. John 6 and 53. We just read that. Joshua the Levite says, Shalom, y'all, heading to the plantation. Love y'all. One. Hey, Shalom to you, brother Joshua the Levite. Love you, brother. Hope you have a safe trip to the plantation. Hopefully it'll be over soon and you can get the heck up out of there, brother. Earthfield and Angel says, John 6 and 54, whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. Earthfield and Angel says, love you more, brother, at Joshua the Levite. Be safe. That's right, brother. Be safe out there. Earthfield and Angel says, John 6:56, For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. Even though Yahweh said no. You see this? Stark contrast. Abiyah says, Shalom, and Joshua the Levite, we love you too. Stay safe and have a Barak day. Earth-feeling angel says, only sick, demonic, occult people do this. This is cannibalism. Yes, it is, at its finest. King David says, zombie-alites. Gonna be like the Negro brother. It's good. It's crazy, y'all. Earth-feeling angel says, laughing emoji. Abiyah says, this is some sick and crazy stuff. Yes, it is. Earth-feeling angel says, John 6:56. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. That's a demon spirit right there. And as long as you keep doing communion, drinking blood, and being accountable, that evil spirit is going to dwell in you, just like it says right here. This New Testament is their answer to the Old Testament. This is their way to fight against us. It's their sorceries and their magicians. Just like in the Old Testament with Uncle Moses battling out with the Egyptians, y'all. King David says, what's sad, an elephant got more common sense than us, literally. Hey, King David, that is so sad but true, bro. And it's sad. Abiyah says, hey, King David, that is sad. Yeah, it is. Earth-feeling angel says, Matthew 26:26. And as they were eating, JC took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. Verse 27, and he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it. Matthew 26:28, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for the remission of sins. Now didn't we read, because see, everybody, the Christians want to act like the animal sacrifices pointed to JC coming, when the Old Testament, Jeremiah 7:22, Yahweh said, I never told you to do none of that. It's all added in there to warm you up so that you'll accept killing humans now. It's evil, y'all. Earth and the angel says, wow, it makes me tear up thinking how deceived we were. No one had the common sense to think this is some dumb crap and wicked to do. Nope, because it was our time to go through those curses fully, Earth-healing angel, and to be deceived. Earth-healing angel says, Jeremiah 7:22, for I spake not unto your fathers. That's a game-changing verse, y'all, to make you start researching and digging, y'all. And there's plenty of other scriptures that back this up. Because it's a divide in the Old Testament. It's more than one God, y'all, in there. One is a bloodthirsty demon preparing you for Yeshua, and the other one is the Most High God. He's in there, but he's hiding himself, just like he told us he was. Jeremiah 7:22, Earth-healing angel says, for I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. That is a bombshell right there. Most Israelites like to run from that, y'all. They run from Jeremiah 7:22. King David says, facts, said Abiyah. Sorry for the late reply. Went to go get my vegetable plate before I sleep. This is a no flesh month. Heavy fruits and vegetables. I still need to get them pumpkin seeds Earth told me about. Oh, okay, that's what's up, King David. You doing the fruits and veggies this month too? That's what's up. Family, I'm doing fruits and veggies this month too. No meat at all. And I ain't gonna lie, it is a battle. And whenever you try to do something like this, that's when you really realize how deep the flesh desire goes. It's deep, y'all. And also tomorrow, if anybody can join me doing a day fast tomorrow, that means from the time that sun comes up until the time the sun goes down tomorrow, no food, no drink. Fasting and praying to the Most High for wisdom, for knowledge, for guidance, for protection, for spiritual power. That he teaches all, that he gives all of us spiritual power, and that he teaches us how to use it for righteousness' sake. Praying for all of that. Any one of you who would like to join me in that tomorrow, from sun up to sundown, no food, no drink. I know some people got some different medical things going on, so it may be hard for you to do that. But if you can't do no food, no drink, do whatever you can do if you feel led to join us tomorrow. That's what we'll be praying for. Wisdom, knowledge, protection, guidance, I'll be praying that the Most High gives us spiritual power and that He teaches us how to use it for righteousness' sake. He'll do it. It's our only hope, and He's the only one who can teach us. He'll teach us. As I'm chowing down on these fruits and all these veggies for this month, made sure I went and stopped past the store today, got me another watermelon with the seeds, got me some grapes with the seeds. When I get off of here, I'm going to make this thing called to clean your kidneys. And when you clean your kidneys, it said it'll clean all your other organs by default. Lemon, ginger, turmeric, black pepper, onion. I'm going to boil that, and then I'm going to strain that, and then I'm going to drink that once a day for 2 weeks. Give your kidneys a thorough cleansing, Hebrew. Oh, we ain't playing around here. We trying to tighten up all across the board, Hebrew. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Finish reading these comments. Finish reading these comments. Let me see. King David said, I'm sorry. Not bad, hold up. Earth-feeling angel says, Leviticus 17:10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul who eateth. Y'all see that? 17:11, Earth-healing angel says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. We know that ain't true. Does Jeremiah 7:22 go with that? See, that's how you know it's going both ways. You don't need any blood at all to be forgiven. That's their blood God. And all the other nations serve the blood God in one form or another. That's why all the other nations do animal sacrifice and human sacrifice. And they added that stuff into our records too, to turn us against the Most High God. But we turning back now, though. We see it. Earth-feeling angel says, please don't forget to eat raw pumpkin seeds, please. No salted or roasted. Raw kills the parasites, and papaya seeds cuts up the parasites and eliminates them. Ah, good looking, Earth-healing angel. King David says, word, word. Glad you reminded me. I was just going pumpkin seeds, but get the non-salted or roast and just eat it as is. Gotcha. Earth-feeling angel says, check at King David. King David says his sad part is drunk blood at church many times as a kid with that grape juice and white mini toast. Hey, King David, you and me both, bro. Earth-feeling angel says, Deuteronomy 12:23, only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. But Yahweh says, do both. Drink the blood and eat the flesh. Sound confirmation. Earth-feeling angel says, Deuteronomy 12:24, thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Earth-feeling angel, Deuteronomy 12:25, thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. You want to know why things been going so bad for us generation after generation? Drinking blood causes things to go wrong with you and your children. Do y'all see that? Do you see that? Earth-feeling angel says, at King David, I used to go and purchase it to take it at home in meditation as well. I really thought I was doing something special for Yah. I was worshiping Baal, a blood god I was serving. Hey, Earth-feeling angel, I did the same thing. And I really thought I was doing something special. All of us, many of us have been down that road. Earth-feeling angel says, John 6:53, then JC said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. He's telling you the only way you can live is to be a vampire and a cannibal. John 6:54. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. That sounds like a vampire ritual that I've seen in the movies before. Avion says that King David, facts, indeed. I hope you enjoy your vegetable plate. It sounds delicious. Yes, those pumpkin seeds are good. My phone died, so sorry for delay in replying. Also, King David says 100 at Avion, you good as well. Earthfield and Angel says at Mr. Real Talk, eat lots of cilantro and parsley to clean kidneys as well. I didn't know that, Earthfield and Angel. Thank you for that. King David says at Earthfield and Angel, yes, we was doing a Baal worship. Wouldn't be surprised over time it made a gateway to my sleep paralysis. Hey, King David, me too. I told you about so scared I had to sleep with my mom going on 17. Hey, King David, I remember you said that. And you know what? That makes sense, y'all. Because every time we was drinking that blood, eating that body, we were inviting a foreign spirit, deity, entity into our body, y'all. That was demonic as hell. Opening up other doors and gates and all that. So yeah, he's knocking at the door, all right. I'm telling you right now, do not let him in. He's the devil the Bible speaks of. Earthfield and Angel says, at King David, most definitely Christianity is rooted in pagan sexual rituals. That's why most Christians fight with incubus and succubus spirits. Cannot make none of this up, y'all. Family, I hope somebody out there was edified by this live stream. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to come hang out with y'all. Also, again, tomorrow, during the day fast, from the time the sun comes up to the time the sun goes down, no food, no drink. Praying, meditating, singing psalms, praying to the Most High for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, guidance, praying that he gives us all spiritual power and that he teaches us how to use it for righteousness' sake. Praying that he adds anything that needs to be added to us and anything that needs to be taken away, that he takes it away. That's what we're doing tomorrow. Anybody out there who can join us, please do. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tarvex Hebrews, purity and becoming one. And we will be going live tomorrow afternoon, early evening. Peace, family. Have a blessed evening. I love y'all.